Hi, welcome back to Life is a Treasure podcast. I'm your hostess, Michelle Durant, and you're listening to episode number 28. This episode is dedicated to all of the mothers in honor of Mother's Day on May 10th, 2020. Some of us are mothers with children on earth, and some of us are mothers with children in heaven. Some of us are mothers with both. Some of us are mothers in our heart, longing for children, or still grieving the children that are no longer with us. We are all still mothers. And I want to remind you that you are a mother regardless of where your children are. I want to offer you hope. I want to share stories that will help you to know that you are never alone. And most of all, I want to inspire you to find inner healing. Please help me spread the messages of hope, help, and healing by sharing this podcast. Rate and review it to help others find it and want to listen to it. I appreciate every single one of you so much. And if you're a man, please listen as well, as this information can help you to understand what the women in your life may be going through and how you can best support them. I also would like you to know that in honor of Father's Day next month, I will be creating episodes directed to the men and how men have been affected by pregnancy loss as well. I will be bringing on men guests, and if you would like to share your story, please reach out to me. I hope that you will subscribe to get notified so that you can listen to these episodes. I'd like to start with the mothers that are longing to have a baby. I know that I've never experienced infertility, but I know of a lot of women who have experienced infertility and perhaps are still on their infertility journey. I've also known women who were told they would never, ever be able to have a child again. And they did. And so that is hope. That is hope. And that is proof that miracles still do happen and to never give up. So with that being said, I also want to share that in this episode, I'm going to be just speaking right from my heart because these topics are so close to my heart. I am the founder of Tears to Treasures, and I will be sharing a little bit more about that as we go along because it's super important to talk about those things because they do pertain to mothers. So I'd just like to start with infertility and share that I can't imagine going years and years trying to conceive without success. That's not something that I personally have experienced, but I would like to share that I have an episode with a guest that will be released on May 28th in a few weeks, and her story will inspire you. And I really hope that you will listen to it and that it will give you some encouragement wherever you are in your journey with infertility. From there, I would just like to go into the topic of miscarriage. So let's say someone has struggled with getting pregnant, then they get pregnant and their baby cannot be carried to term. And that woman experiences miscarriage, maybe more than one. I have a guest that I recorded a podcast with in April. And that episode with Tracy Swainson released on April 2nd. And she shares her journey of miscarriages. And I know without a doubt that that episode will be very encouraging and inspiring to you and help you to really understand miscarriages and that you can find hope and healing after miscarriage. And so I definitely recommend you listen to that one on April 2nd. All of these that I'm mentioning will be in the show notes, so don't worry if you're not somewhere where you can jot notes down. I never want you to have to take notes. I always do the notes for you in the show notes. So just relax, and I hope you just can listen and digest this information and receive some encouragement and inspiration as I share. Okay, so after that, let's go into abortion. That is something near and dear to my heart. I personally experienced abortion, and my whole entire story I shared on the episode of April 23rd, Tears to Treasures, Michelle Durand's story. And if you or anyone you know has been through abortion or is struggling through that abortion years later, I highly recommend that you listen to that episode as well. And then I want to share the alternative. Like, I chose abortion, but I had a guest who came on April 30th, and her story is all about her adoption process. She placed her baby. She was going to have an abortion. Life took its turns, and she ended up having the child, placing her for adoption, and she has an incredible, powerful story. Her name is Danny J. Johnson, and I highly, highly recommend you listen to her episode as well. And whether, through infertility, you may not have a baby, but you have a baby in your heart. You have a vision of a baby. You long to be a mother and have a child. You can find hope and rest in that, God sees your prayers. He knows your heart, and trust in His timing. Some things are just out of our control, and I hope through this episode I will give you some tips and strategies and ideas to help you to process your emotions and your feelings wherever you may be at this time in your life. And, if you've had miscarriage, maybe you've never had children, such as Tracy. And so Tracy's still a mother, and she shares that beautiful story and the connection with her baby. So definitely let's listen to that episode as well. And with abortion, with adoption, all of those, we don't have a child that we can on earth, but we will always have a child in heaven and in our hearts. So then let's go into mothering. So you've had a baby, you have a child, and you're now a mother. And then there's mothers who are with the father. And today in 2020, there's a lot of women who are single mothers. Some by choice, some not by choice. I have an episode that's going to be released next Thursday, and it's with a woman who lost her husband. He was in the military, but he lost his life, and she was pregnant with their third child. So those circumstances left her as a single mother. She shares her journey. She shares her pain, her struggles, her loss. But she took that and she allowed it to be transformed into some beautiful treasures that we talk about in this episode released on May 14th with Ashley Buggy. And I just know that episode will touch your heart as it did mine. Her story is very empowering, and she's actually writing a book, and the name of the book is Always Coming Back Home, and the pre-order will be on May 19th, so 5 days after you hear the episode, you will be able to pre-order her book. As you can tell, I've been doing a lot of research. I've been doing a lot of connecting with women to bring you these episodes. And I just pray that they will touch your heart in some way. Nikki Johnson is going to share her episode on infertility, and I just know that that's going to bring you a lot of hope. And so as I've reached out to these women and as I've listened to them share their heart story, they did it to offer you hope. And some of them didn't end the way that they wanted them to end. And then some of them, it ended so much better than they ever imagined that it would. And that's the beauty of life. We don't always know. Life can be so painful. But one thing is, there's always a rainbow. And we can take those times of tears and transform them into treasures. So what are those tears? Could be some guilt. That's a common word that I've heard throughout every one of the guests, was that they experienced guilt. There's shame. Every one of them brought up the word shame, and they were ashamed. There was anger at some point in their journey. A few of them had regrets, and quite often they felt lonely and alone in their suffering. So I want to share that through that guilt, you can find forgiveness, and especially self-forgiveness. And I created an entire episode on March 5th. Self-forgiveness is freedom. With the shame, they were able to release their shame and share their stories. And that's what gives them some light, and that's what helps them heal as they share their stories to help other women. With that anger, they learn to forgive not only themselves but others. And with the regret, they've learned how to accept it and learn that, yes, I can regret what I've done or what's been done to me. And I can also accept it, whether I like it or not. And I can accept myself. And I've done an episode on self-acceptance, and it was released on March 26th. With the loneliness, they found support. They reached out for help. They joined a community of like-minded women who experienced what they've experienced. And when you have support, you have others around who understand what you're going through. You have others around to support you and help you when you feel weak, or when you feel lost, or when you feel lonely. And I have a private Facebook group called Tears to Treasures, and I invite you to join. It's for women who've had abortions. And it's a safe space to process your emotions, to grieve the loss, to honor yourself, and to honor your babies. I will have a link in the show notes as well. As we are experiencing a full moon right now, May 7th, we have full moon. And a full moon is a beautiful, beautiful time. I just love the full moon. The presence of a full moon is such an opportune time of the month for us to purge. The light of the full moon offers us illumination to those things that are interfering with our inner development and our spiritual advancements. And once we have become enlightened by that moon and those things that the light has been shining into our hearts, we can see the ways that we are blocking ourselves, and we can then be able to let go. The full moon is a time for releasing and purging the things in our lives that no longer serve us, such as relinquishing the suffering involved in the hurtful relationships, even in the hurtful relationships with ourselves, and discharging and letting go of the physical and emotional pains. What can we do in a full moon and in honor and dignity and respect to ourselves and our babies? I'd like to share a few ideas with you. Perhaps you could name your baby. That is extremely healing, extremely important. Whether your baby was a few weeks after conception or a few months, still give that baby a name. It's so healing. I had an abortion and I chose to name my baby Joshua David. Share with me what you decide to name your babies. I love that part of the work I do, is to hear the names, because they're so significant and they bring so much healing to the mother. Another idea is plant something, whether that's a flower, your favorite flower. Sometimes women plant baby breath flower. Sometimes they plant roses. Perhaps plant a bulb like tulip bulbs, or plant a tree and watch it grow. And every time you look, let that be a symbol and a remembrance of the life that was inside of your womb and will always be inside your heart. Another idea is to journal and write your feelings, write a song, sing a song, write a poem. Perhaps make up a dance, just put on some music and dance and just let that energy flow out of you, or paint a beautiful picture. Maybe you would like to go and purchase a memorable item. Like it could be, I have some little baby booties right here, little handmade, beautiful baby, tiny baby booty, baby boot, like sock booty things. And that's what I chose to purchase in honor of Joshua David. And I have it here in my desk right here, right by me, with a few other special treasures that remind me of that healing journey and remind me of my son in heaven. And I encourage you to do the same. It's so beautiful. And share a picture with me and tag me on Instagram with the hashtag Life is a Treasure podcast, or find me in the Facebook group, Tears to Treasures Facebook group, and answer the questions to join and share in there. And it will just encourage so many other women to do the same. Next, I would just kind of like to go into a little bit of examples of the healing work that I have done, that I do with women and men, and like just give you an overview so you can try some of these at home for your journey of healing. First, we look and explore, where do I need inner healing? Then we go into our feelings. What areas do we need inner healing on our feelings? Whether that would be fear or suppression. Suppression leads to depression. Or maybe it's regret, or the denial we talked about, or the shame, guilt, anxiety. Almost every time, the most strongest feeling is anger that they experience. Was for me as well, especially. And then that leads us into forgiveness. Who do we need to forgive? And how do we forgive ourselves? And how do we accept our own forgiveness? That's the key to unlock your heart. Once we unlock that place in our heart and we can forgive ourselves, it allows us to really start to heal and feel and express our emotions, which leads us into the stages of grief. We feel our sorrow, we mourn our loss. And that leads us into acceptance. Accepting the past. The regrets have to be gone. We can't go back and change it, but we can accept where we are. We can allow ourselves to have hope for the future. We can feel joy again. And we can replace those tears with new memories and new treasures, hence Tears to Treasures, which brings us peace, joy, and new memories. And the new memories are built by honoring ourselves and our babies, by letting go, releasing the past, allowing ourselves to accept forgiveness, offer ourselves kindness and compassion as a mother would to her children. One time, Christine Hassler, I met her here in Austin, and I adore Christine Hassler. And, I had a little session with her, and she said, "Mother yourself, Michelle. You've been mothering so many others, and I have 2 children." She said, "It's time to mother yourself." And those were life-changing, transforming words to me. And I'm going to offer it to you. I'm going to give you permission to mother yourself. You can. If you need help, reach out. I'm here to help you. I want to offer you a free gift from my heart to yours. In honor of Mother's Day in May, throughout the month of May, I'm going to be offering a free gift, which would be a one-on-one session with me for 30 minutes for you to be able to open up and share in a safe space via video chat, for you to just express yourself, for you to see where you might need healing, where you might be stuck on your journey of healing. And that is my gift to you during this time where we're all in a pandemic and we're quarantined, we're self-isolation. Don't feel alone. I'm here for you. Go to my website, either tearstotreasures.com or lifeisatreasure.com. And in there, I have a calendar link, and you can click there and you can schedule your free 30-minute session with me. That is my gift to you for Mother's Day. And I really hope you will take that gift and receive it. I'm sending you that with so much love and honor, respect, dignity, and I want nothing more than to see you as a healed mama. So, as I wrap up, I just want to say that whatever you find yourself in right now, it's not going to always be this way. Life goes on, life changes. We never know what the future is going to bring. We do know where our past has brought us. And you can release the past. You can let go. And you can choose to accept your forgiveness, accept yourself the way that you are, and accept that your babies have forgiven you. Your babies love you. And most importantly, you're going to see them one day in heaven. And I hope that you feel that in your heart and believe it with all your mind and soul. As I said, next week, I have a very special guest. Her name is Ashley Buggy. She lost her husband when she was pregnant with her third child. He was in the military. With Memorial Day coming up, I thought it would be an amazing, great time to have her on as a guest. Her book will be available for pre-order on May 19th. And with Memorial Day coming up on May 25th, I felt like it's just a perfect time to share her story in honor of her husband, who's no longer with us. But as he says, always coming back home, and you will always be going back home to your babies as well. And in honor of Memorial Day, I invite you to do something to bring memorial, honor, dignity, and respect, not only to yourself, but to your baby in a creative way that your heart feels is best. And please reach out to me and let me know what it is. Let me know what you've named your babies, and share that hope with others. Be that light for someone else's dark soul. And don't forget to reach out to me and schedule your free one-on-one session. And I can't wait to meet you. And I can't wait to be here to support you in your journey. Until next time, peace, love, and joy, and happy Mother's Day. Thank you for listening to Life is a Treasure podcast. I'm Michelle Durant, and I'd like to personally invite you to join us and continue the conversation in our free Facebook group, Life is a Treasure podcast. The link will be in the show notes at lifeisatreasure.com. You can also find my social media links on the website as well. Please reach out to me and introduce yourself. I'd love to hear where you're listening from and what your biggest takeaways have been. And as we begin to share our secrets, our stories, and our struggles, we find that others can have the courage to start sharing theirs. And this is how the healing process begins. So please help us spread the hope and the healing to others by subscribing, reviewing, and sharing this podcast. And make sure to tag me on Instagram at Michelle Marie with 2 E's, Durand, Durand, with hashtag Life is a Treasure podcast for a chance to get a shout out on the show. And also visit lifeisatreasure.com for all the resources and freebies mentioned. We believe that everyone is equal and worthy of healing and unconditional love. And we promise that if you invest your time and energy to do the inner work, you too can transform yourself and create a life that is a treasure. So you can live authentically, love unconditionally, and laugh wholeheartedly. And until next week, peace, love, and joy.